Oh, what a day it's been. What a drive down here from LaGrange to Texas. 2 days. We took a different route, decided to see the west side of Texas. It was nice. Cristobal and San Angelo, very nice. Up in the mountains. There's mountains in Texas. I didn't know that. I'd hear about it, but really didn't know about it. Excuse me. It was a Saturday. Selena is discerning, unlike me. She was hinting, we need a little time just for me and you. Let's go for a drive. So we went for a drive to Guernsey, Wyoming, to go visit a church that needed a pastor. Just to go visit, they needed somebody during the school year to fill in the pulpit. So we drove up to Guernsey, and it was a cloudy day. And so we arrived in Guernsey. Guernsey is probably an hour and a half, an hour and 45-minute drive. And so we get there, and we try to look for this Pioneer Bible Church. I believe it was what it was called. We couldn't find it. There was 2 other churches there, so I stopped and asked, is this Pioneer Bible Church? Perhaps they forgot to change the sign, which happens. I said, no, it isn't. So we drove back to LaGrange. And I was tired, and so we went to sleep. Usually at 8 o'clock, we're in bed with the chickens. We put them to sleep also. So at 11 o'clock at night, this is Saturday, May the 7th, unbeknownst to me, Selena began having her contractions. I'm asleep. I don't know what's going on. Sunday morning, May the 8th, at 1 in the morning, Selena goes, Tony, get up. It's time. Okay, she was already prepared. She had a tub already packed. So I load up the truck, and her mom had come down from Canada to stay with the kids. Loaded up the truck, so we get in the truck, and we have to drive 2 hours southwest to a town in Colorado called Severance, which is where the midwife had already set up for us to go have the birthing. So we are driving, and then it begins to rain, and it's dark. And Selena says, I need some water. So we stopped at a Flying J. And my biggest concern was, I don't want the highway baby. Nor a Flying J baby. That could have been his name, Flying J Rosas. But no, it wasn't Flying J. So we stop at the Flying J, and we get some water, and there she leans over the counter like this. Contraction time. Okay. So we get in the truck, we continue driving to Severance. We arrive in Severance at the house where a couple, their ministry is to supply their apartment basement as a birthing for the midwife in Loveland, Colorado, which is 30 minutes from where we were at. And so we arrive at 3:15. By 3:30, 3:45, I'm getting ready to go back to bed. I want to get some sleep. I said, no, you're not. Now I start documenting contraction in time. Every 3 minutes, this kid was like, boom, 3 minutes contraction, 45-second delay. Otherwise, 45-second contraction, 3-minute pause. And I could just had my phone, and it was being timed. I'm there with a timer. I'm going, it's going to start now. It started. Wow. I better put this thing on vibrate. And then her water breaks. Okay. I better call the midwife. So I call the midwife, and I tell her, I think it's time. Are you sure? Well, I'm not, but my wife says it's time. She knows her body. I think it's time. She's 30 minutes away. The water broke. Are you in suspense yet? Well, let's leave that story for right now. Let's leave that story for right now and look at what today is. What is today? It's Father's Day. These are my cards. From Allie. Anthony likes Army stuff. And Judah. It's a doodle. But this is what we do. Mother's Day, Father's Day, any kind of day, we make the cards. One, because we're 45 minutes away from anything in LaGrange. So it's easier to put in your love into making something. And so as I reflected on today, I went to that database in my mind through the catalog of memories. Some memories I hadn't been in for years. They were there, but they hadn't been retrieved. And why is it that it takes a special day to retrieve particular memories? To reminisce, to think of Dad. To think of Dad. And for some of you whose dads are alive, it could have been waking up in the morning and like Walterio had said, maybe taking him to breakfast, bringing him barbacoa, tamales, whatever Dad likes in the morning. Or perhaps it was a phone call because Dad lives across country. Or perhaps it was a road trip. Let's go see Dad. It's Father's Day. There's anticipation to the point when you arrive. And perhaps you're the prodigal. You're the prodigal. And you and Dad just don't get along. Or never did. And you're coming home. And you're coming home. And then for those of us, I guess I can't move. For those of us whose dad is gone, it could be going to the graveside. And that looks kind of weird, doesn't it? And paying, just kind of reminiscing by the tombstone. And that could be it. And as I looked at this, I began to look at my memories. And how a father's love is always on standby. As kids, we may not see it. We may not even notice it till we get our own kids. Wow. It's a whole different spectrum. And as I looked at this, I began to look at a father's love on standby. One, as a father, and secondly, as a son. And so we're going to look at 3 episodes. 3 episodes of a father's love that is always on standby. So imagine, if you will, let's go into our database and let's retrieve a memory. Stage right. Mom is cooking. Or maybe brought the takeout. I don't know. I got to stay here now. And she's cooking. At least it was in my house. And the kids are waiting. They're waiting because somebody's coming home. Stage left. There's the window. The car or the truck pulls up. Who comes out of the car or truck? It's Dad. And if it's like at my house, the kids race out. Daddy, Daddy. In episode 1 of a father's love that is always on standby, there's a promise kept. Did you know that? The promise that when you looked out the window, there was Dad. There he was. A promise kept that he would be there. Now, as I put this message together, I thought, do I, as a dad, realize? No, but my kids know. He's coming home. That's as good as a promise. He's coming home. It's a promise kept. The importance of promises, of in the smallest things, of being a dad, it's kept. He's showing up. He's showing up. Now, as I reflect on the message, it's very easy to deviate to perhaps, well, Tony, my dad never came home. That's not who my dad was. That's true. I cannot change that. I cannot change the fact that maybe your earthly father didn't keep a promise. But there is a greater Father in heaven that kept the promise. And he kept that promise. And it started at the Garden of Eden, when man opted to do